All right, and welcome to this special cut-in edition of 69 News.
Explosion to tell you about in Allentown. It happened just before 11 o'clock tonight. This is a view from one of our sky cams in Center City, Allentown. You can't make out much from this, but we know there's been an explosion and there has been a fire following the explosion. You see the glow of that fire. You see lots of emergency lights. And we should tell you this has taken place in the area of Allen Street, we understand, between 13th and 14th. And we've gotten nonstop calls to our newsroom in the past half hour or so about this. Apparently a massive explosion. We have crews rushing to the scene. That's right. We've been told by a couple of sources that there have been several casualties reported. As Rob mentioned, people have been calling the newsroom telling us, some from as far away as Center Valley, saying they felt the rock of this explosion. We have some pictures that were sent to us from viewers as far away as Whitehall, who were able to show us the plume of smoke that they could see. And here's that picture. This one actually sent from a viewer in Whitehall. You can see that plume of smoke. You can see the flames. We're told right now that at least 2 city blocks have had to be evacuated. Also a possibility that Gross Towers, a senior high-rise facility, also being evacuated, and word of a base basically being set up to help victims, and a staging area being set up at 15th and Allen. They're in that shopping complex in that area. So that's the area that we're talking about right now, kind of center city area of Allentown. Right. It's a densely packed residential area. In that area, there are strips of row houses in that part of Allen Street. Also, but we're not far from, as you mentioned, the Gross Towers high-rise. We're not far from some shopping centers in that area of Allen Street. And so this sounds like the very bad situation. Emergency crews have surrounded that area. You can see the flashing lights here as we've returned to our live picture from one of our sky cams. Evidently, it's a house that has exploded. There's not a lot of official information yet. Obviously, the officials are very busy dealing with what they've got on their hands there. As we switch to a different look at that, you see smoke over the city of Allentown. The Center City area was shaken by this at about 10:45. Smoke's rising from a house that has been leveled, or so we understand. We're still working on getting the information. And by the way, if you have information about this or you're nearby, do give our newsroom a call, 610-791-1111. We've received many reports from folks in the area who not only felt this, but have seen debris on the streets nearby, which sounds like it has been indeed quite a large explosion.
And we're also told by several of the callers that some of the victims, we also heard this over the police dispatch radio, some of the victims were actually blocks away from this explosion as well. So we're not quite sure if that was a direct effect from the explosion, if there was debris. A lot of the information just coming in at this point. You can see the flashing lights. Obviously, a lot of emergency vehicles responding to that area right now. You can see the smoke. Last that we saw from that sky cam, you could actually see that there were some flames still involved in that fire, and there were also some reports that perhaps even some of the gas lines under those blocks are now involved in that fire as well. As you can see some flames in this shot right there, the glowing there in the center of your screen with the smoke. As Rob mentioned, this happened about 45 minutes ago. We do have a crew heading out there to the scene, but we are told that it is mass pandemonium in that area.
As you can imagine.
Yeah, so a lot of the victims at this point, a lot of evacuations, 2 city blocks being evacuated. All right, now we're getting some chopper video right now. This is from our sister station, WPVI.
Wow. You see the flames. It's still a raging fire. You can tell better from this shot that that is indeed the case, and not just that it's something still smoldering. The flames seem very large. So we try to make out from this picture exactly what the nature of the neighborhood is. It is a residential area, and at this point we understand that a house has exploded. But again, this is an area where the housing is all connected. You have a number of row homes here, so it may be an easy guess, in fact, to say that more than one house is affected. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like we have 2 fires going here. It's kind of hard to say from this vantage point, but as you look at the chopper shot provided by WPVI, you have the upper right near the center of the screen, now into the center of the screen, a large flame, and then you have something to the left side of your screen there now with a second bit of flame. So it's hard to say exactly what is burning from this vantage point.
Right, it looks perhaps like the end of a row at least is involved in this. And as we said, we do have a crew out there on the scene. We're hoping to get some more information for you as soon as it becomes available. Once again, this happened about 45 minutes ago now, about 10:45 we're told, and this is in the area of 13th and 14th Street, West Allen Street, down in that section of the city. 2 city blocks, we're told, have been evacuated, and possibly even the Gross Towers, the senior high-rise, which ironically we're talking about, was actually had an explosion of its own quite a few years ago.
Right.
Okay, and we can
take a different look from one of our sky cams there again, and you can see the smoke still rising over the city. I don't have an exact address on this. We've been talking about West Allen. It's a center city area, and that there's a residential area, and it's a report of a house exploded. I'm just thinking as I check the constantly used these days Google Maps and Street View pictures, there's also quite a lot of business right in that area as well.
Right, I'm looking at the chopper video here once again, and you can see the fire is still burning at this point. Fire crews out there obviously on the scene, as well as several other crews, different departments being called in to try to get this fire under control. Once again, this is a residential area, we're being told, a row home. Some people saying the home leveled. We don't know if that's necessarily true, but definitely a big explosion. People calling from as far away as Center Valley telling us that they felt the actual explosion when it happened. So that gives you kind of an idea of the size we're talking about at this point.
Right. Quite a blast. No doubt some injuries, hopefully not serious injuries or fatalities, but we're still working on that information from Allentown Police. And the utility crews are there, obviously, as well as the emergency responders, because this may indeed involve gas or underground gas lines, and so it could be quite a difficult situation. As we take yet another view, I don't know that we've seen this picture before. You can see water being sprayed at the scene there. It's kind of hard to make out still what is burning, although I think you see a high rise in the background.
You see those, maybe that is the Gross Towers there in the background at this point, to give you kind of an idea of what area of the city we're talking about. Once again, we're talking about row homes here, so a lot of the houses packed tightly together, a lot of people in that area. So when you're talking about the evacuation of 2 blocks, that could be quite a few people we're talking about. This, a viewer pictures sent in from a phone. This actually taken from Whitehall, and you can see the flames. This taken right after they felt the explosion out in that area of Whitehall. And as Rob mentioned earlier, our phone ringing constantly in the newsroom after this happened. Dozens and dozens and dozens of people calling in to tell us that they felt the explosion and that they had seen what was going on, or at least wanted to know what was going on, because a lot of people felt this.
Now, if you're just to get you oriented here, this would be Allen Street between, as we go back to our chopper shot, Allen Street between 13th and 14th, and of course at 15th Street. If you're familiar at all with Allentown, you have the Allen Shopping Center. We understand there may be some sort of a staging area that's being put together there. This is not far from Rookie's Sports Bar, which is just a little bit north of here, and this is just a few blocks north of the center of town, a couple of blocks north of Liberty Street. And again, there's a shopping center. There are some small strip shopping centers also in this area, not just the housing. So it's kind of a neighborhood that has a cluster of many different things right there. So we are awaiting a confirmation of exactly what has been leveled. Early reports and police dispatch reports seem to indicate that a house was leveled. And again, we don't have any numbers we can give you on injuries, but we understand there have been some, and possibly multiple injuries. So we're trying to process that information as well, and we understand debris from the blast has been scattered around the area. So you can imagine a part of this area is obviously closed off, and we understand a couple of blocks here, I'm not exactly sure which ones yet, have been evacuated, and possibly the Gross Towers. Now earlier, this happened about 10:45, just to reiterate. Not long after that, we received calls from folks in Gross Towers, which is the senior citizens high-rise not too far from here, and they were still in their high-rise at that point and watching this and letting us know that this had happened. They could see the flames, they could see the smoke. Since then, we have heard that there has been an effort to evacuate Gross Towers, but again, some of that is just based on not yet confirmed police radio reports.
Right. And as Rob mentioned, that's down there in you're looking at the map right here, Google Maps, in the 13th and 14th in Allen is where it happened. There's actually an elementary school right up there at the corner of 15th as well, just a block or so away from the area.
Yeah, the arrow on our internet image here points out Allen, and you see the Allentown Housing Authority building there right in the center, which I believe is the Gross Towers building. And then just to the north of that, Rookie Sports Bar. So somewhere along in Allen, we have this blast, and here again a look from the air at the main fire. It seems to be safe to say this is the main fire. There had been a little to the left in terms of the image, a separate fire earlier, which I don't see any longer, but there is a huge cloud of black smoke over that area as the fire continues. Is it a gas explosion? We have not had a confirmation from UGI of that. It does have the appearance of one, especially given the intense nature of the fire as it continues to rage, even though you can see from these pictures and from our sky cams that they have lots of water trained on this right now. So we're still working to see if we can confirm that it's a gas explosion. It does have the marks of one.
Yeah, so we do have a crew out there on the scene, so we're hoping we can get some more information for you. We were told that it was an MCI, which stands for a mass casualty incident. So that could give you some indication of what the folks are dealing with out there right now. However, we have not heard about the degree of injuries, the severity of injuries, or the number of injuries. We're basically just getting this information as it comes in and seeing it as you are.
Right.
And you can see the flames right there growing, actually, on that one part of this, right there in the center. And you can see the flashing lights. Obviously, that whole section blocked off right down in that area of 13th and 14th and Allen Streets. And as we said earlier, 2 city blocks at least at this point, possibly even more being evacuated. The senior citizen high-rise being evacuated. So obviously a lot that crews have to deal with right now, because if you're evacuating these people, we're talking about possibly single-degree temperatures out there.
That's true.
And you're taking elderly people out of the gross. It's a senior citizen high-rise. We're taking them out into the cold air, and the people who live there outside. So that's obviously something they're doing with that setup at 15th and Allen, trying to give these people a place to go now that they've been evacuated, because as you can see, we're going on close to an hour now, and this fire is still burning.
Yep. Just about 10:45 was when the reports came. We heard about it right away in the newsroom, as you might imagine, especially through the the chatter on the police radios. There had been some kind of an explosion, and there was no indication right off the bat just how serious this was. But within about 5 minutes, it started to sound more and more serious, and we heard, as no doubt a lot of people in the city did with their own police scanners. You heard the police chatter, officers saying it sounded like a building had been leveled, and then officers coming across debris in the street as they approached the scene of this on Allen Street. So there were indications from the start that this was very serious. And now, as we get to just about an hour since the blast, you can see the fire is still burning.
Now, I'm being told by one of my producers that they were able to talk to some of the businesses down in that area, and they said that they believe they've been hearing perhaps as many as 2 explosions have occurred. 2 buildings could have been involved in these explosions, and they said that this is in an area down in that section. There's a car wash in that area, if you're familiar with that stretch near Tillman, and they also said that they've been seeing numerous ambulances coming through. So no doubt that they're actually going down there. We had been told once again that it was considered a mass casualty incident, but once again we have no word of any injuries at this point. In fact, we have no word from any official truly on what exactly is going on down there. As we said, a lot of this is coming across as radio chatter, things that we're hearing on the police scanners and reports, and phone calls coming in from people in that area. Once again, we do have a crew heading down there trying to get to that area, but as you can imagine, that area is closed off. There's a lot of emergency crews using those roads to get in there, and we are told that there's actually a unit in place being set up to help the people at 15th and Allen, kind of a checkpoint there for the emergency responders and everything else, and the people that are being evacuated to report to. So that's being set up down in that area. So once again, 13th and 14th Street and Allen obviously completely shut down in that area right now.
There are a number of different kinds of properties in this area. We've mentioned the residential, and the report is that a house has been leveled. But just that, if you know that area, 13th and 14th on Allen Street, there's a mix of things. There are some businesses there. There's the public housing, the Allentown Housing Authority housing, the Gross Towers complex, which is a high-rise that's listed as being at 1339 West Allen, which is in the same area that we're talking about here tonight. And that's a high-rise for senior citizens. So no doubt there is great commotion happening there in the area of Gross Towers. I must say, not confirmation, as you get a different look here, and can you make out what's burning, or can anybody in the control room make out what's burning?
Yeah.
Our image is not very large that we have to see here.
Yeah, it looks like the house is the
like
roof.
houses.
I'm also being told that viewers are calling in and telling us that it is the house right on the corner. So it is the end of the row that appears to be on fire. You can kind of make out, it looks like we're looking at the back end of those homes, like through the backyard area at this point. And you can see the streams of water all working on those flames, and they do not seem to be going down. In fact, in some spots, they look like they're burning even more intensely than when we saw the shot earlier.
Right. Yep. And does look like houses, again, 13th and Allen, or on Allen between 13th and 14th, let's say that, where there are a couple of clusters of row houses together. And it looks like it's one of those clusters of houses that has had this explosion, or as the newsroom has told us just a moment ago, possibly 2 explosions.
That's right. And now I'm also being told that we have witnesses, that we have a crew out there in the scene, and right now they are hearing from several witnesses that it was a gas explosion. At least that's what the people being evacuated were being told. Now, we had been told earlier that there are obviously gas lines in that area, and they are now contributing to that fire. So whether or not that was the initial cause of the explosion, was a gas explosion, or if that was perhaps the second explosion people were talking about, if initial explosion then ignited those gas lines. But a lot of people telling our crews there that this is a gas explosion.
All right. Residential gas explosion. Just if you're joining us right now, about an hour ago, 10:45, there was a large explosion. It rocked Center City, Allentown. This is not far from the main business district in the heart of Allentown, if you're not so familiar with the city. It rocked the center of town there and sent flames and smoke into the sky, and people have felt it for miles around. We had a picture we were showing you a few moments ago of the flames as seen from the north in Whitehall Township, and we hear from some folks below the city of Allentown, south of Allentown, in the Center Valley area of Lehigh County, where folks say they've felt the blast. We here on South Mountain in Allentown, just below the Allentown city limit, I'm not sure if folks here felt it here on the mountain, but actually some say below this area in Center Valley they have felt this. It sounds like we're hearing that it looks more like it's a gas explosion. You see the viewer picture I was referring to a moment ago as taken from Whitehall Township looking south into the heart of Allentown. That's where that picture in the upper left comes from. Taken not too long after the blast. And of course, the picture on the right being the chopper picture. We're thankful to our friends at our partner station WPVI for providing that to us. That's a live picture. That's what the fire crews are having to deal with even as we speak on Allen Street in Allentown tonight.
That's right. And our Will Lewis is out there on the scene. We're hoping we're going to hear from him very shortly. He is going to call in and tell us what he is seeing and what he is hearing down there on the scene. And you can see the flames still going strong down there. And once again, people down there in that area are calling and telling us that it is the end of a row that is on fire, and that the blocks have been evacuated, possibly even Gross Towers, the senior citizen high-rise being evacuated as well. Looking at that live picture, and once again, folks from far and wide have been calling to tell us that they felt that explosion when it happened back at 10:45. So that gives you some idea of the intensity of this explosion.
Right, and it must be pandemonium in that area, as you can imagine, especially if it was a gas explosion. Concerns by the folks who live in those adjoining houses, no doubt, and of course a good many of them by now are out of those houses, I would think, and possibly being sheltered elsewhere, possibly at the Allen Shopping Center, which is just down the street from the scene here. We have a caller now who says the blast was felt in Bethlehem, due east of this, so it did shake the entire area tonight.
And I'm told that Will Lewis is on the phone right now. Will, can you hear us?
Yeah, Wendy and Rob, I got you.
Okay, what can you tell us? What are you seeing right now?
Well, right now we're standing right over by Allen and Madison, where at least 5 fire trucks and crews are putting water on a lot of house and a lot of rubble. There's still flames that are coming out of the house. There's flames all the way across the street here on Allen Street. Crews are working hard. UGI Gas Services just arrived, and it looks like they're trying to work on some a situation here. Of course, we've got fire, we have police, we have an emergency service crews. I know you guys were talking about people out of their homes trying to be evacuated. That is going on right now at a senior residence right behind us. Right now, we don't know where they're taking residents, but we will start working on that and give you guys an update on that. But it is pandemonium, like you said. It looks like a little bit of chaos. A lot of people just said they heard an explosion, and then all they saw was flames shooting up in the air. That's all we have right now. We are continuing to work on it, and we will bring you the latest the next time we talk to you.
Hey, Will.
Right now,
hey, Will,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, before you go, just to narrow down the location for us, you mentioned Madison. You're at Allen and Madison, would that be right?
I am. I'm at Allen and Madison. The flames right now literally are probably not even 40 steps away from that street corner.
Okay.
Here on Allen and Madison.
All right, so Madison, just so people know, as I look at my map here, is a north-south small street between 14th and 13th Street, parallel to Mercer, and it's right near Allentown Housing Authority public housing project. You mentioned that, Will. And,
yes, that's correct.
Okay, and does it seem to correspond to what callers have said, that the house that has been leveled was the end of a row, or as opposed to a middle of the row unit?
Yeah, you're totally right, Rob. The house that is sitting here at the middle of this row unit, all the rubble from the house is out in the street. Right now, you kind of hear many sounds like it would be small firecrackers. I'm not sure if they're explosions. I'm not sure what's going on. But right now, fire crews are working on the second part of the row house, which flames have just popped through the roof on that house as well. I know that they're worried that they were talking, the houses are neighboring MAB paints, and you can look from the explosion inside the store. You can see tiles that have come off the ceiling inside of that store. But right now, crews are just working on that fire and, just making sure that they can get this under control.
So, Will, just so I understood you correctly, there is one house are you saying that this could be spreading to a second house now?
It does look like it is spreading to the second house. There are flames in the roof right now. It is a crazy scene right now, Wendy. If you look, the flames stretch all the way from Allen Street to at least two other houses right now.
Now, I know you want to get going and trying to get some information for us, but we have been saying that this is a mass casualty incident. Have you gotten any sense of injuries at this point?
We haven't been able to confirm that. On injuries, we are waiting to talk to some people about it. Of course, with the way the scene is right now, there hasn't been very many people that are willing to stop and talk to us. There is an incident command center that has been set up right at about 15th and Allen. We will be checking up there, but right now we're just trying to talk to as many people and try to get as many pictures as we can back to you as soon as possible.
All right, Will, why don't you go and do what you can to find some more information. We appreciate that. That does update the picture for us a good bit, so thank you, Will. Just to clarify then, an explosion leveled a house at West Allen and North Madison Street, which would be between 13th and 14th on West Allen Street. And Will says it looks like at least one other house is also burning. There's fire in the roof. I believe he said at least possibly two other houses.
Right.
So you have one leveled and one or more other houses that also are burning. And a neighboring store, an MAB paint store, has, because of the blast, no doubt, had tiles fall off the ceiling. But it does not sound like the fire is over there in that store. It's just from the effect of the blast.
All right, and just an update for you. I'm now being told that people are being evacuated to Ag Hall, the fairgrounds not far from this area. So perhaps if you have family or friends in that area that you're concerned about, or you want to go see, Ag Hall is where they are. And we're also told that Gross Towers was evacuated. So there's a strong chance that's probably where the people from Gross Towers are going as well, to that Ag Hall Center, which once again is just a few blocks away in the fairgrounds area right down there in that section of town. That's the area that we're talking about. As Will mentioned, though, it is mass pandemonium, so obviously they don't want people trying to head down into that area to try to find family members. But however, if you wanted to head over to the fairgrounds, that might be an option for you. We're going to try to find out any information we can on the people being evacuated and give you some numbers perhaps that you can call to try to get some information. But as you heard from Will, this is just unfolding still. This happened just a little over an hour ago in that area. You're looking at a still picture in that left-hand corner to give you an idea of the size of this explosion if you're just joining us. That picture was taken from Whitehall. And this explosion happened in Allentown between 13th and 14th, West Allen and North Madison, in that area where the shopping center is, and 15th and Allen, to give you some idea. He said it's right next to the MAB paint store in that area. That also appears to have suffered some damage. He told us that UGI obviously is out there on the scene, and people are saying that they believe this to be a gas explosion, although we have no official word of that right now, but that appears to be the case.
Now, indeed, if people are being taken to Ag Hall, just so you know, that's about 17th and Chew, so that's only about 4 blocks from this area, which also means, fortunately, that another important place about 4 blocks from the scene is Lehigh Valley Hospital in the center of town there on 17th Street. So no doubt people are mobilized and receiving injured folks right there at the hospital, Lehigh Valley Hospital at 17th Street and Chew. That's not far from here. This is Allen Street, just to reiterate, West Allen. And near the Allen Street Shopping Center, which we understand has a command post being put together there, that would be at 15th and Allen, so just down the street from where the blast took place. Now,
Brett, are we looking at live chopper video once again? Okay, so all right, so this is a video taken earlier from the helicopter. So the upper left-hand corner right now, this is video taken just a few moments ago from the chopper up there over the scene, and you can see the flames. And as Will mentioned about it spreading to a second house, you can kind of see what he's talking about there, with the end of the row being the initial site of this fire. And then he said it looked like the flames had jumped, and now they're working on a second house, as you can see here. I know it's dark, and with the smoke it's kind of hard to make out, but it appears that we're looking over the row, and the row would be coming in from the right of your screen, and we're looking from the back. It looks like you're looking at the backs of those row homes with some porch roofs and things sticking out in the back, perhaps. So you're looking at the flames right there, and it has been burning like that for more than an hour now. Yeah.
Now, this, I must say, you're sort of watching, you're participating with us as our information is collected. We appreciate that, and some more bits of information are coming in as the minutes go by. But I must say, this latest one sort of complicates the picture a little bit, and perhaps others of you in the neighborhood can give us a call. Obviously, we're working to seek official information as well. But what I'm talking about is a viewer who says the house in question that has been leveled is, according to this viewer, on 13th Street at Allen. But that would place it about a half a block away from where Will saw the house burning, which is on Allen at North Madison. So we need to kind of work that out, unless, in fact, what we're seeing is multiple fires. It does look like there's the possibility of multiple house fires, which could mean one is burning closer to Madison Street on Allen and another